following is a non-verdict-based research versus show. The stats of the individual characters are not taken into consideration when determining aspects of the fight. However, the characters themselves are going to be represented in their fullest capacity outside of stats. This is versus universe.
Swords. I like swords. Y'all like swords? You know what else I like? My friends. Sword friends. And the color green. I really like green. It's my favorite color. So, who has green hair, likes swords, and fights for their friends? Well, I think you know the answer, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Roronoa Zoro, the Straw Hat's Master Swordsman from One Piece, and Uzu Sanageyama, the Elite Four's Master Swordsman from Kill la Kill. Let's begin. All across the Blue Sea, there exist many people aiming to search for the lost treasure of Gold Roger, the One Piece. Claiming such a prize wouldn't just net the finder unimaginable wealth, but would also have them take on an epithet. They would become the King of the Pirates. Alongside those that fight to become the Pirate King is Monkey D. Luffy, the leader of the Straw Hat Pirates. While in the East Blue, Luffy heard tales of a pirate hunter, but instead of avoiding him like a sane man, Luffy knew that this swordsman would have to be the first to join his new crew. That man was Roronoa Zoro. Zoro was born in the East Blue, but unfortunately was orphaned at a very young age. He ended up at a dojo, and the owner of the dojo's daughter, Kunia, formed a relationship with Zoro by constantly kicking his ass. And Zoro was no pushover, even at his young age. Kunia was just that good. After their 2000th duel, the both of them promised to each other that they both would try and become the world's greatest swordsman. Unfortunately, Kunia forgot she was in a backstory and was doomed to die, so she did. The loss shook Zoro, but her dream to become the best wouldn't die. Instead, Zoro became more determined than ever to attain his goal. Not just for himself, but for his fallen friend as well as carrying her sword with him everywhere he went. And he knew just where to start to become the strongest. The current strongest swordsman in the world, Dracula Mihawk. But Zoro still needed to refine his skill set if he were ever going to stand a chance against Mihawk. And he's got a lot going on. We're going to talk about his arsenal now. I don't know how I got so bad at transitions. I'm on a bed now. Don't worry about it. So Zoro's whole thing is that he uses 3 swords instead of 2 or 1 sword, and he calls this his 3-sword style. Now he can use 1 sword, 2 swords, hell, even no sword and still be incredibly deadly. He just prefers 3, you know? At least we're upping the ante from the 2 bit. Thank God. It was getting old. Alongside this, Zoro has access to something called Haki, which is like spiritual energy that you can control, and there are 3 types. Observation Haki, which kind of acts like a 6th sense and allows the user to sense where people are as well as their emotions. Armament Haki, which creates an invisible armor around the user or something the user is touching, like swords. And Conqueror's Haki, which is unique compared to the other 2. It allows the user to exert their willpower over others, and unlike the other 2, cannot be taught or trained to achieve. It is an ability given at birth. And lucky guy, Zoro just so happens to have access to all 3 forms of Haki. So much so that he's considered one of the best Haki users across the entire Blue Sea, especially with armament Haki. But when Zoro gets super serious, through sheer willpower he creates an illusion of 4 more arms, 2 more heads, and 6 more swords. This is Zoro's 9-sword style, Asura. This boy has a lot of abilities, but when you're traveling with someone as trouble-prone as Monkey D. Luffy, you need all the skills you can get. And speaking of, when they were looking for a cook so that they didn't starve to death, Zoro actually met his goal, Dracula Mihawk. But he was, not quite ready to defeat him. Not yet, at least. Zoro let Mihawk permanently mark his chest with a mighty swing of his sword. The scar a reminder of the progress Zoro must make as a swordsman before he is ready to challenge Mihawk once again. A severe amount of shit happened, with a ton of new members joining the Straw Hats thanks to Luffy's insane arrow ace Riz. But after a meeting with this fucking shuffle man who jobbed them all, Luffy decided that his crew needed to get stronger, by any means. So he gave them 2 years to train, and Zoro wound up studying under the man who gave him his scar, Dracula Mihawk. 2 years went by, and Zoro got even stronger than he already was, which was a quite frankly insane feat, alongside donning a new scar across his left eye. He, alongside Luffy and their chef, Sanji, would be dubbed the Monster Trio. Whenever they were on the scene, chances are the Straw Hats would take the fight. As he went to new places alongside his friends, his resolve and strength were tested, whether it be by fighting, or in one case, by shielding Luffy from what would be a fatal blow and not wanting any of the glory of that save. Zoro has cut so many things that, honestly, I could name some and you wouldn't be able to tell which ones were fake or not. Unless I made it really obvious. Like, he sliced up dragons, a mountain, my house. He didn't slice up my house. That was the lie. I'm sorry for lying. But you wouldn't imagine that someone who drinks as much as Zoro has the kind of control to not go and cut up random houses. Boy throws back pints like nobody's business, though his favorite is, of course, sake. And while we're talking about it, he's, not got the greatest sense of direction. I mean, the whole reason he ended up meeting Luffy was because he lost directions back to the dojo where he grew up. Zoro has transformed from a boy who had a shared dream that seemed bigger than the entire world itself, into a man that is probably going to make that dream a reality. I don't know, One Piece isn't over yet. Not a dig, I'm a Hunter x Hunter fan, I know what it's like to wait. I know this pain. But if you should threaten him, his friends, or their dreams, the Straw Hat's right hand will demonstrate the ferocious power of Roronoa Zoro.
Where the hell did all this blood come from? Hey, are you still alive? Where'd that paw guy go? What in the hell happened here?
What happened here? Nothing at all.
Do y'all like school? I wouldn't know. I haven't been there in... I'm choosing not to think about how long it's been, but it's, been a long time. I'll tell you what I don't miss, though. The hierarchy of popularity. Now, for the students of Enoji Academy, this hierarchy is all too literal. See, there are these things called Goki uniforms. Pause for joke. Why'd I put that in the script? Oh, the more stars you have in your uniform, the better your social standing. I don't mean like figuratively. Like your uniform star ranking literally informs what class of citizen you are. Freaky. No-star students live in the slumps of Hono City, whereas 1- and 2-star students fare a far bit better. However, 3-star uniforms are reserved for the best of the best. They are for the elite. The ruler of the student council, Satsuki Kiryuin, handpicked 4 elite members to be granted this incredible power. One of those members was Uzu Sanageyama. He caught Satsuki's eye by holding his own as a master swordsman when he was a mere child against her, even though he lost. He was still fairly confident in his abilities to beat anyone who stood in his way, and he had good reason to. Sanageyama employs something called Tengansu, where he uses his enhanced eyesight to predict attacks before his opponent can act. He managed to impress Satsuki by avoiding her blows using this technique, and she offered him a proving ground to really challenge and hone himself, and she gave him his very own Goki uniform. A 3-star variant, the Blade Regalia. So the Blade Regalia, and Goku uniforms in general, are very special. Not just because they're named after Goku, although he is a very special little boy, but because of what they're made of. All Goku uniforms are threaded with something called life fibers, which just give the clothes a big ol' power-up. The more life fibers in the clothes, the more powerful the Goku uniform. 1 stars get 10%, 2 stars get 20%, and 3 stars, stay with me here, get 30%. With this increase to his potential, Sanageyama developed a new form of Tengansu that utilized the eye holes in his suit as well. Kinda like a certain other anime boy. I don't know why everything's coming back to Togashi this episode. I'm a shill, I can't help it. Sanageyama also doesn't use a normal sword like you'd expect, instead opting to wield a blade made of bamboo. A shinai. Why he does this, I couldn't tell you. Normal swords exist, but I guess they just don't speak to the guy. Using all of these powers, he ended up fighting somebody using an outfit composed of 100% life fibers. Ryuko Matoi. His specialty is wielding his sword around a lot, and shouting 3 words constantly like a stand cry. Men! Do! Kote! However, he was overconfident in his ability to predict her every move. It didn't account for her to cover his eyes. All of his eyes. His Tengansu was entirely blocked, and he was defeated fairly easily after that. She had a special sword that could cut through life fibers, so once she found a weakness in Sanageyama's strategy, she won fairly easily. This was a wake-up call to him. His Tengansu wasn't enough anymore. So he asked the guy who made his Goku uniform to do one thing for him. Sew his eyes shut. He gained a new power with this. The power to see the world not just in front of him, but all around. This power is Shingansu, Literally the world's eye. With this power, he could easily sense and predict Ryuko's movements, and almost beat her, but his Goku uniform overheated and she got away. Even though Satsuki congratulated him on the win, he wouldn't accept it. It wasn't a true victory. He needed to fight her one last time in order to be truly satisfied. He's on that Saiyan bullshit. And when the time came for a true rematch between the two, Ryuko herself had evolved almost beyond recognition. She had matured in a very short time, just like Sanageyama had. And as Sanageyama went for the kill against Ryuko, some fucking eye patch lady with an umbrella showed up and killed the vibes! Said bitch worked for Satsuki's mother, who was like, really weird. This ain't about her though. But she proved to be the thing that Satsuki, alongside her Elite Four, were fighting against the whole time. Well, that and also the original life fiber that came to Earth like a long ass fucking time ago. That's right. All those Goku uniforms, they're aliens! Aliens that make clothing for you. Where have I seen that before? But through the use of his Goku uniform, including an upgrade to the suits? Shirts? Onesies? Onesie. An upgrade to the onesie's design, making it Blade Regalia Mark III. He helped everywhere he could in the fight against Aragio, even directly at points, all in service of his lady Satsuki. And when coming face to face with her, he revealed something. He no longer needed his eyes sewn shut to achieve Shingansu, and so the stitches became undone to restore his eyesight. This was the final upgrade to his Goku uniform, the Blade Regalia, Secret Unsealed. And he worked with Ryuko to defeat Ragyo once and for all, restoring peace to the world and getting rid of those stupid aliens. He basked in his lady's radiance one last time before she disbanded the Elite Four. Their mission had been accomplished, and mankind no longer feared being naked. It makes more sense in context. But if you should challenge him, Uzu Sanageyama would make sure you know just how far he's changed. And then he'd fight you. He likes fighting. I need to be clear on this.
Good. Just remember, even though you took my eyes, I can see even better now. And this time, I'm gonna take you apart. Senket Senjin and Senket Shippu, huh? I like how you evolved. Even so, it's no match for what I've got going on. Check it out!
We open to a shot of the outskirts of Hono City, as a man washes ashore on the island's cityscape. Roronoa Zoro.
Ugh. Where the hell am I?
Before he can get his bearings, a man makes his own presence known. Uzu Sanageyama, who was minding his own business before this man he's never seen before barged into his turf.
Hey, you're on Hanoji Academy territory. You better state your business or get the hell out.
Business? I don't have business here, I guess. I just want to get back to where I came from.
And I don't want random people showing up unannounced, so get out of here. Unless you want to face the Elite Four as Master Swordsman.
Zoro's ears perked up at the last word Sanageyama just uttered.
You? A master swordsman? You don't seem nearly disciplined enough.
Sanageyama smirks as the sun twinkles in his eyes.
I've worked hard to get to where I am, and I'll prove it.
Sanageyama then brandishes his bamboo blade, ready to strike at Zoro. However, the Straw Hat takes one of his own blades out and accepts Sanageyama's challenge as a duel.
This'll be interesting. I'll show you how hard I've worked too!
The two rush in at each other simultaneously, and the resulting shockwave between the clash nearly destroys the poor dog they started this fight on. Both of them notice this, and they jump upwards to a more spacious abandoned residential area to continue their fight.
You're powerful. I'm gonna have to take you more seriously, stowaway.
As he says this, Sanageyama throws away his clothing and instead drapes himself in his Goku uniform, activating it in spectacular, if not a little bit too intimate, fashion.
3-star Goku uniform! Blade Regalia Mark III!
Zoro is unimpressed by this display.
Neat trick. It's not gonna help you.
Zoro then lunges back at Sanageyama, only to find his sword completely held back by that gigantic Shinai.
Too weak. You're gonna have to try harder than that if you want to beat me.
Zoro is pushed back by the bamboo sword, but before he can rebalance himself after the throw, Sanageyama comes blazing back to where he landed at an intense speed and starts shouting his battle cry as he launches blow after blow Zoro's way.
Men do kote! Men do kote!
Zoro is beaten back to a corner, but as he stands there after the beating he just got, he starts to think to himself.
You're right. I'm not gonna get anywhere with one sword. So let's try 3!
Huh? Where does the third one go?
My mouth!
What?
My mouth!
Zoro takes a warrior stance as he holds all 3 blades with his body, and Sanageyama looks on in awe.
Onigiri!
Zoro then slashes forward into the hulking green and white blade regalia, attempting to cut it to pieces. However, he finds that all 3 of his blades, including Enma, cannot cut the fabric of this Goku uniform.
What?
I see what you're trying to do. You can't cut this fabric, not that easily!
Alright then. I'll just have to cut you more.
Zoro tries doing just that, and Sanageyama lets him. He nearly succeeds with 1 strand, but it bounces back to attach onto Sanageyama's skin once more.
These are life fibers. This suit, it's alive, and it feels the same way I do.
As Sanageyama says this, he can sense that Zoro is about to slash at his leg that he hadn't been thinking to defend, and instead of attacking, blocks Zoro's attempt at a strike with his Shinai.
Sorry, you're not gonna fool me that easily. I can see the entire world, and you're just a speck.
That's funny. I can see the world too.
Zoro then activates Observation Haki in the hopes of finding a weakness in Sanageyama's Goku uniform, but he finds nothing.
This guy has no obvious weakness. This'll make things more interesting. I've been waiting to test myself like this.
Zoro then activates Armament Haki on his swords, and begins swinging again against the blade regalia.
You want more? I'll give you more!
Bring it on! Men! Do! Kote!
Zoro then readies a defensive move he used in scenarios like this one before.
3-sword style! Streaming wolf swords!
With this technique, Zoro manages to cut down a fair bit of the life fibers in the blade regalia, but they still stick back on Sanageyama's flesh after being cut.
Well, that's annoying.
Suddenly, Sanageyama appears behind Zoro in the blink of an eye, readying a devastating blow to the back of the Straw Hat's head.
I told you, I can see the world. Shingansu.
No! Tatsumaki!
After he utters that word, Zoro spins around and a giant twister surrounds the area, pulling in abandoned homes and buildings alongside Sanageyama himself. As he's being sent hurtling into the tornado, Zoro comes in at various angles and tries slashing at his Goku uniform yet again, making far better progress this time.
That did something.
Sanageyama, inside his Goku uniform, closes his eyes and trusts his instincts. The next time Zoro attempts to strike at him, he wills his body away from the blow.
How?
Even in a twister like this, I can sense your deadly intent. The sweat on your furrowed brow, the muscles you tense and relax. I see it all, and now, there's no escaping me! Shingun Tensenzuki!
Sanageyama then thrusts his Shinai over and over and over again, in such a way that even if Zoro instinctively activated Armament Haki where he sensed the bamboo sword was going to go, he wouldn't activate it in time to actually block the thrust itself. Couple all that times 1,000, and Zoro's twister dissipates as his body collapses back on the ground, while Sanageyama gracefully lands.
Okay, no more games. Time to stop screwing around.
I could sense it this whole time. You were holding back. Why?
Because I've never met you before. I don't know if you're a good or a bad guy.
It shouldn't matter if I'm good or bad! I'm in your way! Take me out, or I'll take you out!
Huh. You still have growing to do.
Zoro then activates his Conqueror's Haki, imbuing his swords with the purple glow the ability emanates.
If I use this ability on you, you'll die. Are you ready for that?
Sanageyama takes one step forward, puffing his chest out as he proclaims,
Uzu Sanageyama never backs down from a challenge!
Zoro can sense the truth in that statement and makes his own.
Very well, Uzu Sanageyama! Roronoa Zoro will give you a warrior's death!
Give me all you've got, Zoro! I won't take anything less!
Zoro then winds up an attack to end all attacks, but stops in the middle and instead faces Sanageyama with malicious intent. Seeing an opportunity, the Elite Four member tries to rush in against the Straw Hat, but instead is met with a burning feeling in his chest, a cut shaped like an X.
King of Hell! 3-sword style! Purgatory Onigiri!
Sanageyama begins to cough up blood, the blow clearly damaging the Elite Four member, but not killing him. However, the attack did slash away his eyes, leaving Sanageyama blind.
Ah!
You're still standing, huh? Impressive. I'll end this now.
Not yet! I'm not done!
Sanageyama then undoes his Goku uniform, only to reveal a new form the clothes can take, a much more powerful form, with a green saber in his hands instead of the Shinai.
Blade Regalia! Secret unsealed!
Zoro takes a step forward, confronting the boy whose face he hadn't seen since the beginning of this fight.
No more secrets. No more tricks. Let's see who's really the strongest swordsman alive. Come on, Uzu Sanageyama. Strike me with all you have!
Sanageyama smirks as he calmly readies a final blow that will end this fight once and for all.
I'm ready when you are, and I promise you, I'm giving it all I've got, and you better too. I won't accept anything less! Roronoa Zoro!
The two of them scream violently as their attacks, both laced with extreme deadly intent, collide with one another. As green light streaks behind Sanageyama's feet, Zoro comes crashing down to meet him, and Sanageyama sees something terrifying. The visage of an enormous blue dragon that isn't even there. Even so, they press on into the end of this fight. In the aftermath, only one swordsman is left standing. As the two's collision dissipates into raw smoke and fires burn underneath them due to the sheer friction made from their attacks, Roronoa Zoro shouts out his attack in victory.
103 mercies! Dragon damnation!
Every single fiber connecting the Goku uniform to Sanageyama's body is severed beyond repair, leaving the boy defeated and naked as he lay there, with a familiar-looking scar across his chest to Zoro.
Huh.
Sanageyama begins to rise up from the ground, still beaten and nearly bleeding to death, before attempting a limp swing at Zoro.
This isn't over. I can still...
As he says that last word, he collapses to the ground, bloody, broken, and defeated by Roronoa Zoro. The Straw Hat then sheathes all of his swords and puts them at his side.
Huh. Don't take it personally, kid. Just means I was stronger. But you were a good benchmark for me. I want to be able to beat someone like you without resorting to my most powerful abilities. I want to be the best. I'm sure you did too. Rest well, Uzu Sanageyama.
No! I won't accept defeat. I can't!
Very well.
Zoro then uses his bare hands to strike at Sanageyama with such force he is taken down on the spot. Zoro has defeated the boy with nothing but his fists.
I can beat you without any swords in this state. You're acting pathetic. Accept your loss.
Sanageyama pauses, before realizing he'd forfeit his life if he were to try anything else. Sensing defeat, much like his bouts with Ryuko Matoi, he chooses the high road of accepting that he has lost.
I will. Roronoa Zoro.
Sanageyama then falls unconscious, before Zoro looks back on the sea he rode into this strange town in.
Great. Now how the hell do I get back?
And so ends the tale of how Roronoa Zoro and Uzu Sanageyama dueled to the near death. But also, this marks the end of their journey to test themselves against one another. Perhaps now they know that their true strength lies within. As the two's collision dissipates into raw smoke and fires burn underneath them due to the sheer friction made from their attacks, Uzu Sanageyama shouts out his attack in victory.
Utter victory, single blow!
In the aftermath, Zoro is left standing on his 2 feet, bleeding profusely. Sanageyama spots this and begins to gloat.
Do you still want more? I thought you'd be done after an attack like that.
You don't understand. Nothing has happened. I'm fine!
Zoro, against his body and brain's better judgment, prepares an attack to beat Sanageyama with once and for all, his ultimate maneuver. Zoro appears to grow 2 more sets of arms and 2 more heads. He has entered a new state entirely.
Demon Aura, 9 sword style! Asura!
Zoro begins to attack again and again and again at Sanageyama, but the Elite Four member can sense every single movement with ease. Instead of letting these attacks register, he prepares himself for one final barrage of attacks to end this fight right here and now.
You're too tired to pull off a technique like that. Let me show you what it means to evolve! Men do kate! 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 Men do kate!
With the final push of Sanageyama's attack, Zoro is left beaten, bloody, and broken, lying on the ground, clearly defeated at the hands of Sanageyama.
You never should have fought me. I'm a changed man. Have been for a while. I had to evolve to survive, and I came out the other end a better person because of it. I can tell something similar happened to you. You experienced great loss as well. But I was still stronger, and the strongest are the ones who survive! So survive, Roronoa Zoro, and face another day! Become an evolved man like me!
Zoro mutters a few words before succumbing to his exhaustion.
Thank you, Uzu Sanageyama.
Now, let's find a place where you belong.
And so ends the tale of how Roronoa Zoro and Uzu Sanageyama dueled to the near death. But also, this marks the end of their journey to test themselves against one another. Perhaps now they know that their true strength lies within. Oh boy, wasn't that some fun! I kind of wanted them to kill each other, but I think I'm getting too attached to these characters. I don't want them to die. Near death is good enough! So the main thing I wanted to illustrate was that both Zoro and Sanageyama had the ability to perceive the world around them extraordinarily. But Zoro has to actively activate his version of the technique, whereas with Sanageyama, he just always has it on. I don't know, I just think that's neat. I didn't plan that shit. But importantly, that means that Sanageyama doesn't have as much of an advantage as he thinks he might, because Zoro has dealt with a lot of observation hockey users. He knows their shit. And like, he uses it too, obviously. And also, I think Zoro shouldn't be able to cut through life fibers normally. He needed to do some stuff before he could cut that shit. Maybe with Enma, but it makes more sense for the solution to be using Conqueror's Haki, so I went with that. Sorry, I have opinions. I also wanted Zoro to use 3-sword style and Sanageyama to use Blade Regalia Mark III for the majority of the fight, to put more emphasis on their abilities. And only having them go all out in their endings felt fitting. It's shonen, you know? Having both of them double down in the other's endings was important too. Both Zoro and Sanageyama had instances where they pushed themselves too far. Though Zoro's was more selfless and Sanageyama's was selfish, you know. Contrast. So, what did you think? Would you change anything? Add anything? Find the missing Skye clone for me? Well, let me know in the comments below and I'll see you in the next episode of Versus Universe. Bye!